You are now chopping it up with the Nerd Barbershop Podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerd Barbershop Podcast. I'm Terry Williams. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode and hanging out with me for a little bit. So in this episode of the podcast, I want to talk about all the stuff that's going on with Keith Lee and kind of restaurants in Atlanta, Chad Ochocinco, all the crazy stuff that's been happening around him. So if you haven't been paying it, or you haven't seen like on social media or in the news, things like that, I don't think it's gotten too big, but it's relatively big in like black social media circles. And Keith Lee, who is a pretty big TikToker, I think he has like 14 million followers on his TikTok account. He went to the Milk and Honey, which is a restaurant out in Atlanta, to get food. He does food reviews. You know, he's a foodie. He likes food. He likes, you know, going to smaller black-owned businesses, giving reviews and showing them love, and he's letting people like kind of know what's what. He's doing this for a few years. I know in Vegas, I think is where he really got popular, and a lot of restaurants have been booming because of his like reviews. A lot of people might not have been in these smaller joints or might not have heard of him. He's got their food, gives them like his opinions on them, and they've kind of taken off. So the Milk and Honey is a pretty popular establishment in Atlanta. So he decided to go there a couple of weeks ago, and he I don't think he doesn't go get the food himself. He has like family members, friends go get the food, so it's more authentic. So, it's not like, oh my God, they know who he is, he gets special treatment and stuff like that. They try to, be on their best behavior with him. So he has his family go out, get the food, and he didn't get the food back. He didn't get anything. And I think his family came back, they didn't even get service. And so Keith Lee, of course, went to his TikTok to give a review of it, and just kind of talk about his experience and things like that. I critiqued them and said some stuff, I don't think it was nothing like super negative, but just, again, critical. You're a customer, you're a consumer, you try to give, play favoritism, you be very transparent. You just give him a very honest review of his experience, which is fair. And it got a lot of momentum on social media, kind of went viral, and even like the other celebrities talk about not just their experience at that restaurant, but their experience with restaurants in Atlanta. A lot of people were saying like a lot of Atlanta establishments don't have the best customer service or treat their customers well. They only really treat like high-end clients the best, and then everyone else is kind of like whatever, which isn't really fair, but this is kind of what it is. And they got called out about it, and I think the owner of the restaurant responded to Keith Lee with like a tweet or a response. It was very like one-sided, very almost egotistical in a way, kind of talking about, you don't say bad stuff about people, people, like, we work hard to get to where we are, I wouldn't say anything negative if I was in my position, that type of position and stuff like that. It's like, no, that's not what he's doing. He's giving a very honest critique of what your business is doing. But then later on, the business, I think the social media team kind of got a hold of it and sent a more proper response and apology to Keith Lee. But, and I think he's gotten like death threats about it and stuff. It's really weird, really stupid. But I'm really commenting on, in the last few days, Chad Ochocinco, who is a former NFL wide receiver. He has this pretty big social media following, but he has a show with Shannon Sharpe called, The Nightcap with Uncle Ocho. And I guess they were talking about the situation, things like that. I guess Shannon Sharpe asked him some questions, and and this article was actually on CNN where Chad Johnson actually kind of came at Keith Lee on the on the episode of Nightcap with Uncle Ocho. Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson kind of talked about the situation. I guess Shannon Sharpe asked him some questions, how he felt about the situation. And I'm actually going to read what Chad Johnson said. He said, quote, from the article from CNN, I don't like the fact of what he's doing. I don't like the critiquing of our restaurants and having people and talking bad about our goddamn businesses. Johnson said, you know how hard it is for us to even get in the food industry and to have our own restaurants? What are we doing? So that's what Chad Johnson said in response to kind of Keith Lee's critiques. And the moment I read that, I'm like, Chad, what are you doing? Keith Lee responded his own way. It was like, he has the right to his opinion, but, of course he disagrees. And he's like, because he kind of goes on to say, like, what, like, credentials does Keith Lee have to review a restaurant? And it's like, dude, what are you talking about? That's what have you heard of the term secret shopper? Secret shoppers are just everyday people that go into restaurants and they have a checklist and they just knock stuff off for a business, and they get paid for it. You ask for certain things, you buy stuff, you critique the entire experience, cleanliness, all that good stuff. So Chad Johnson's response of his qualifications is stupid. You're a paying customer. You're qualified to give a review. Like, get out your own way. And something else I wanted to talk about this was that's the issue with a lot of black-owned businesses now. Like, a lot of black people in our community, they do that. They don't handle criticism well at all. And you should know criticism comes with the business. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many people, you say, oh yeah, like I like this, but maybe you could have done like this, or oh man, you should just communicate a little bit better. And people get up in arms. Oh, you a hater? You trying to block my shine? Trying to block my blessings? You just trying to hold me down? You a bad vibe? You ain't getting off good vibes, and just a bunch of BS jargon people will say. And it's like, no, if you're a business owner, you have to be able to handle the good and the bad and the critiques. And a lot of times people are just critiquing just to critique you. And a lot of times it's nothing serious, but stuff that you need to improve on. And people realize, oh, hey, you're doing this. Oh, maybe this should be a little bit hotter. Oh man, I wish this was a little bit quicker. I wish you communicated this and this. Those are valid points, And if you take those points and you go, let's look at our situation, look at the business, and you look at everything with a chance to grow, you're better. But it's so bad in our community that people don't do that. And a lot of people don't shop black. One of the reasons why people don't shop black sometimes is because the black experience sucks. And it's true. Like, some black businesses don't know what they're doing. It's all about clout. It's all about the recognition. It's not about the actual business providing a good service and a good experience to your customers. It's about, I'm trying to get my money up. The clout, yeah, I'm a business owner. My business makes this, and this. I'm trying, get this newspaper article. I'm trying to get these awards. Woo, woo, woo. And if your goal owning the business is to get, recognition and stars and accolades, the very foundation, the very core of what you're building on is going to fall apart, because that's nothing. Building your business by the perception of people will always fail. If your entire business is on the foundation of you're trying to get the best, perception of people, and we want people to talk about it and go viral, go into your establishment, talk about your establishment, you want your establishment to go viral, that's not a good business model. That's not a successful business model where it's sustain business, service, the product, the quality of the product. Like, those are things you can build a business on. Going viral isn't what it is. That's not what you should build your business on. And and it's just like, and that's a stigma that's across the black community, which is sad. It was just hard when you try to work with people. You want to work with people, and people don't communicate. You throw people ideas, and people, or you're like, oh yeah, let's try to collaborate on this, and this. They don't respond back. They don't respond back with times. They kind of shake you off. They don't, they leave you on red, or they don't do their part. And it happens more often than you think. And when you work with people that, are about business, that's a really good experience. And I try to work with people as often as I can, because that's kind of the best way to build relationships and nurture relationships. And that's how you grow, by networking and growing. But again, if people aren't about business, I'm not going to talk to you. That's how I approach my time and my money and things like that. Like, if we're working on a project and I talk to you and I'm trying to reach out to you, or trying to, figure things out, and you're not really responsive, or you're not communicating, ideas and things like that, I'm just going to let you go. I'm just going to kind of walk away. I really want to talk about this, especially with me being on the food side of things, because food matters so much to me. And, especially with me starting to do more reviews on Google Maps and do things like that. Like, they're everyday people, especially just, I think just the part of, Chad talking about, what right did Keith Lee have to, what his qualifications. You go to a restaurant, you buy their food, you're qualified to critique it. That's just the way it is. The moment you go to an establishment and you buy their product or service, you are now qualified to critique them. That's how it works. There is no, you don't need a degree or a master's or anything like that. And as black people, as a black community, we need to be able to handle criticism. We need to be able to grow. Someone can say, oh, I really like this, but maybe it should be this. Maybe it should be sweeter. Maybe you should add a little heat. Maybe what if you did in this? What if you put it in that? And take all those things into consideration. You shouldn't necessarily just shut down people just because it doesn't fit, your narrative of what you want to do for your business. But sometimes people from the outside looking in can give really good responses. Because again, a lot of times you're stuck in your own ways. You're doing things. If you only ask your circle will, if you have a good circle, they'll tell you, that may not work. But getting outside knowledge and people outside of your circle and outside your sphere of influence, if you will, a lot of times they'll give you good ideas and give you good feedback because they have no direct ties to you, so they can be honest and unbiased and very transparent. And you need that. Like, we need more of that. So I appreciate what Keith Lee has been doing, just going to food places and giving his opinion, like things like that. And for him to get like death threats and people trying to come at him and his family, like, no, like, don't do that. Like, you need honesty, and that's wrong with the world now. There's too much fake shit. There's way too much fake shit in the world, and there's not enough transparency and honesty and people being genuine and giving genuine opinions. Everybody wants to be cookie cutter. Everybody wants to be cookie cutter. Everybody wants to say the thing that makes them go viral, or say the thing that will put them over, give them more followers or more subscribers. Like, no, be you, be genuine, be real. And a lot of times people will gravitate towards that, and it'll blossom after that. So that's kind of my little spill on it. I didn't want to talk too long on this. I'm actually going to drop a podcast with my review of the Marvels movie. I didn't get a chance to see that a few days ago, so I'll be talking about that. This podcast will come out after the weekend it released, so people have gotten a chance to see it. So I'll be dropping my review of the Marvels movie very, very soon. Thank you so much for listening and following the Nerd Barbershop Podcast. I greatly appreciate it so much. I'm trying to get out more podcasts as soon as possible. I'm trying to count these out. I'm trying to give you more content and things like that. I want the podcast to grow, and I want you all to enjoy it. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your frenemies, tell your friends, whoever you want. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for rocking with me for the last few years, and we're going to keep going. So, always and forever, slicing, dicing gaming. It's not just a motto, it's a lifestyle. I'll see you next podcast. Later.